of Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. I'm Jennings Bernard, your host. As always, we really do appreciate you being a part of this broadcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend that Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil is on the air. I'm your host. I really do appreciate you. As always, you can catch me right here each and every day, Monday through Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. or whenever I am available. I thank you. Welcome in. Welcome in. We hope everything is all right with you in this city that we call Memphis, Tennessee. We want to thank all the law enforcement officers for doing a great job, whether it be federal, state. We welcome you as well to the city that we call Memphis, Tennessee. We needed help. You brought the help in spite of what some other people say. They can see the results, but they still will argue just to be arguing or hearing their voices being on the opposite side. But I tell you, I thank you and the people of the city of Memphis that overwhelmingly feel that you should have been here and you are here, and they are grateful for you being here today along with myself. The others, sometimes you can't get everybody to understand the truth because some people just can't handle the truth. And the truth is that we have been blessed by way of some of this crime going really down as opposed to the fake uh, numbers that we was getting prior to you all being here. And I can't stress it enough to say thank you for being here. And you are away from your families to be here to protect and serve the citizens of Memphis. And for those who really appreciate you being here, again, I want to thank you for coming and being a part of this community and helping us to do the right thing. I'm Jennings Bernard, and let's get right to it. I want to, first of all, on this Veterans Day, I want to say my hats off to all the veterans, past and present, those who are standing guard, watching over the posts that the enemy may not intrude into this country that we call America. I thank you for it. The people who are in uniform, serving on land and sea. Shout out, simplify to all of the Marines, as well as the Air Force, the Army, the Navy, the Coast Guard, on and on and on. And we want to make sure we just get everybody in because we appreciate what you're doing in spite of the fact that you are not home with your loved ones. We understand that. Those who have the loved one with you on your duty station, we thank God for them to be there with you and helping you to protect and serve. They're behind the scenes, but to all the mothers and fathers who are standing guard at home while the wives and the male, the husbands, are always serving and protecting this country. And thank you so much for what you've done. Mighty many souls are lying down in the graveyard of the National Cemetery, one on Jackson and the one on Sikkim Correction, the one on Hacks Cross. Uh, we send our prayers with you, and God got you now, and we thank you also for the service and for the widows who were left behind. We're praying for you, and for the children who lost a mother and father. We're praying for you also. And to all veterans, again, happy Veterans Day. They had a lot going on down at the VA hospital, like they always do on Veterans Day. But you know, it's something about this cold weather. Uh, you can give me all the hot weather. You can give me, I can deal with it. But when that chill gets in the air, I'm going to get my hoodie. I'm going to get a coat. I'm going to get whatever is necessary for me to get because I don't like to be cold unless it's during the summer and I got the air conditioning kind of blowing inside because I'm outside working in the yard. Something I just love doing, and that is working in the yard. My daddy used to always say the reflection on the outside of the house is the reflection on the people who live inside of the house. And that stuck with me, and I always wanted to make sure that my lawn is cut, my house is painted, doing the cosmetics on the outside that reflect who live on the inside. And that's truth. That's powerful. As it relates to him saying that to me many, many years ago. And my neighbors and friends can tell you that's one thing I like doing, and that is working in the yard. And I'm going to do it until I can't do it anymore. You know. And then we uh, called my brother-in-law, my wife did, called Cedric Briggs over. And when I had that little light operation and I couldn't be out lifting or moving things around for about a week and a half, I want to send a shout out to him for stepping up, being that brother-in-law, coming over here and cut it just like the way I like it. And again, to your Cedric Briggs brother-in-law, I want to openly thank you for coming on down and taking care of your brother-in-law while he was unable to do it. And you know, I wasn't able to do it, but I was sitting outside in my easy chair and watching him cut it, and then I would go back in. But again, I want to thank you. And I want to thank you, the listeners, the watchers that have been playing a part and giving me and giving yourself the numbers that you have raised this program to. And it's a lot of numbers, and I thank you for the viewership. I want to tell you one thing, and two, I want you to do, as always, subscribe to this program. At the bottom of this video, you can go and hit the subscribe button and subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. Share this video with your friends, and when you share it, you tell them, go on and subscribe to this Facebook page and to tell the truth and shame the devil. Do that. And then when you get through with that, we got something for you as well. Go to MemphisRealTalk.com. Again, MemphisRealTalk.com. Memphis Real Talk, that's one word. Memphis Real Talk, one word, .com. And you will see the website where my website team doing a magnificent job. If you want a website built, you can give me a call and I'll give you the number where you can contact the webmaster who is putting it together for me. And you can have one built just like that, because I sit back and think about what I wanted added to the website. And I'm adding some things that we'll be able not only to just do this broadcast for you. I'm thinking about sports. I'm thinking about getting someone who loves sports and loves to talk about sports can come in and talk to you in certain hour or two and sit here and talk to you about sports. Even if you are female and there's a subject that you want to hear about, or is that thing that you want to swap, we may put that on. We may have a swap shop on this program button that you can go to and see the thing that you would have, and it would be monitored by yours truly. Ain't gonna be no shenanigans in this game, cause I don't play shenanigans. I just want to provide things for you. But go to the contact on the website and put your information in there, and just tell us what you want us to bring to the website, and we'll do that. And while you're down there on that page, pan down as well, and hit the donation page. No donation is too small, none is too large. Whatever you want to do to help what we are trying to do and to bring. This is a long journey, but we're going to get there. And it'll be there for you to be able to come on and lie on. There's some other things truly that we want to do for you. I'm Jennings Bernard, and you're listening to Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. I've been looking and watching what's going on again in Washington, D.C. As we said, the Senate has passed on tomorrow. The House will either vote or not vote to refund or fund SNAP. And the Senate has some of the Democrats, with the minority leader, Chuck Schumer, is upset because some of them abandoned the stalemate that they was going to hold out until they fund certain programs as it relates to insurance and other things. But 6 or 7 or however members, Democrats, joined on with the 50 some odd Republicans, and they got it passed in the Senate. Well, now it's time to see what the House is going to do. And you know, when I look at the Senate and I look at the White House, I look at the House, all of those individuals were put in those places based on you, the voters. Every district, every ward and precinct voted in your state for those people to represent you in Washington. The same locally in your capital or your state. You put the governor in that seat. You put the Senate in their seats. You put the House in their seats. So that says to me, I can go on and on about every state doing the same thing. But that says to me that the politicians are not in control. You are. If you gave them all of those positions and jobs, and you gave them the right to represent you, they're not in control. You are in control. And it's time for you to use your power, exercise your power, whether it be on a national level or whether it be here locally in our great state of Tennessee. You make the difference, whether it be local, city council, county commission, county mayor's office, the city mayor's office, representative. You are in control. Now you realize sometimes when some people have been in office for too long, have gotten rich by you putting them in there to make them rich. And I still wonder how you go into office with a million income and become a millionaire when you come out. Big deals being made with big will while eating big meals in Washington, D.C. Of course they are. Are they being made here in locally in Memphis, Tennessee? Of course they are. And it's been proven. And it will continue to be proven. See, one thing about power, and they used to say this, power corrupts, but absolute power absolutely corrupts. And no matter who you are, if you're not deeply rooted in your foundation of what's right versus what's wrong, you're going to be caught up in the good old boy situation. You're going to be caught up in the 30 pieces of silver because you think because somebody else got away with it, you think you can get away with it. And then you'll find out that you can't get away with this. I want to also bring to your attention, many of you know the mayor of Galloway, Tennessee, was arrested for possession of cocaine. Now, how in the world do you do that when you've been given the authority to be the top leader of a city called Galloway? How can you do that? and be, I'm almost a word of the stupidity that I think that individual with that kind of power that will rob, steal, and take from you, the taxpayer. Now we know he got caught with possession of cocaine, and he really didn't understand somewhere the foolishness that he didn't understand that when you're at the top of the heap, there's somebody that's always watching you. There's always somebody listening to you. There are people who sent people to jail because they sent an email to a sweetheart out of Detroit, Michigan. Went to jail for just using the email of the city. Well, how many people do you think probably email someone that really is not about city or county business? If somebody watch hard enough and long enough, they'll see you doing that. But always remember this, to me, this is the way I think. If I was a city employee and you gave me a car to drive while I'm doing the mayor's business, at the end of the day, when the mayor's business is done, that city car, as far as I'm concerned, would be sitting in the garage at City Hall. Now, why would I take that car home? I have a car. So if I'm driving to work for over 25 years, I can drive myself still. If I'm on government business, then I can leave my car in the government city garage. Then I would take possession of that car. If I'm going to a place to speak, or if I'm going by a church or an outing to do business, yeah, because that's government business. You have to be very careful when it comes to emails, when it comes to a car. You may not know you're abusing that, but somebody that's watching, that want to be where you are, they'll let people know what you're doing that's wrong. So why do it? Do the right thing. Before you was mayor, before you was a city councilman, or anybody else, if you got a car, you was driving to work before you became that director. So drive your own car and keep you out of trouble. It just makes sense to not give people enough rope to hang yourself. That's what I talk to you about here on this program. The thing now is that they say I got receipts or I keep receipts, and that's saying that they have talked to people. They have gotten information from individuals. And then you have your own receipts where you can witness and you can verify certain things that have happened politically, socially, or whatever. But when you are an elected official, it's not about you. It's about the people you represent. And see, the thing about Memphis politicians, they think they're important. I've been wearing suits pretty much all of my adult life, from just liking to wear suits, because my father wore them, and I looked up to him, and he looked mighty good in those suits when he was a quartet singer. And I just wanted to emulate my father, so I started wearing suits at a very early age because I like to look good, to smell good. And that's why I started wearing suits. And then I became a pastor. And every Sunday, and going to hospitals to see my parishioners, going to nursing homes. Yeah, I wore suits. And pretty much now I'm sitting around, I'm just relaxing now. But then politicians will say to you, I want you to feel and look at me, and I'm important because I'm wearing a suit. I got alligator shoes on. Back in the day, it was States Island, Edwin Claps. They think because they put on a red and white and blue, they are a real politician. All I see is an individual in a suit. All I see is an individual in a pair of alligator shoes on. It does not make him respectable. Only what he does for you will make him respectable to you. But how can a person be respectable if he got a new suit on with a red tie, white shirt, blue suit, and your community is falling apart? How can you respect that person in alligator shoes that you pretty much paid for because he gets a salary from being your representative? So you put the shoes on his feet, the clothes on his back, the food on his table, on his or her table, but yet they don't respect you. See, if I give you something, if I deal with you and give you my support, I respect something for you. So I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call you. And I'm going to talk to you about this or that's happening in my community that I think that should be better. And I'm going to go further and say, some people want to be identified and want you to identify to who they are. Pearl Walker, she wears pearls around around her neck. She wants you to realize that she's Pearl Walker and she's important, but she's only important because you made her important. You look at others that are doing things to stand out. They don't really, if you really think about it, what would they rather be? Would they rather be at home or rather be out in the cold serving the people who need to be fed? It's all politics. It's a politician. But if you are citizens out there just to serve the people, then you understand what you are doing. But when a politician is there in a gathering, whether it be in Cooper Young, North Memphis, South Memphis, they're really not there. Their heart and soul is not into what you are doing to benefit the people. Their thing is there that they see voters, they see numbers, and that's why they're there. You take a J.B. Smiley, if he wasn't running for office, would you see him out in the middle of Cooper Young like he was? He stood out like a sore thumb because he wasn't really there, in my opinion, to really serve the people. It was to serve himself. And not only him, any other politician that shows up to a gathering, he's there for support and your vote. But you need to control your vote. You need to be the one to stand up and say, okay, enough is enough with this foolishness. We're going to show you in 2026. I have to keep reminding you of that. We had Buckner. Someone told me that he's become or trying to become a Mason. Why? Because he wants to get the Mason vote. Well, I could say to him that the Masons are not what they used to be and probably never will be. The Masons of old in 1978 when I became a Master Mason, worked my way all the way up to a 33rd degree Mason. And understand this, when you tell someone the truth and you stand boldly as a lion and never flee like sheep in your questioning, then people really don't want you around, because by telling the truth, you show their falsehood. And when they can't answer the question, it makes them look bad, and then they try to use their power against you. But no power formed against me shall prosper. I believe that without a doubt. Whether it's this individual, as the man said, Lee Harris, stopped talking and acting like a woman. He cannot do anything. to harm you, me, or anybody else. No politician can, because you gave and you can take it away. That's what you got to realize. That's what you got to understand. You have the power from your house to city halls to the White House. You have that power to make the decision to change those individuals. And I said on yesterday, if you are part of any city government or county government, I can throw you in there as well as receiving money. You're just like the people who is a part of SNAP. They are getting government funding by the people. The politicians are getting government funding by the people. So to me, you can call it SNAP over here, you can call it a senator or a congressman over here. You're still getting the people's money by way of taxes. So to me, you're not bigger, you're not better than people that are getting SNAP, because you are also getting paid by the same people who fund SNAP. Do I make any sense here? So you're giving credit to people who really don't need the credit, who are not doing your job locally here in the city of Memphis, buying a hotel and don't know or have a clue as to how to run a hotel. Then they turn around and get 3 different boards of directors to sit down and try to figure out how they gonna make the hotel work. Keep in mind, it came a time that Crown Plaza sold it to Marriott. Marriott looked at it and sold it to Sheraton. Sheraton looked at it and sold it to these foods in the city of Memphis. Now they're gonna try to make it work. They're gonna try to cut deals with Big Wheel, and Big Wheel's getting paid out of the deal. It's the art of the deal that Donald Trump would say. Somebody gonna get rich. Somebody gonna get money and position and power within that hotel. But what will you do? What would you get? The citizens of this community, what will you get? Will it be a return on your tax investment? They got to come to you by way of taxes. So you might wish to get prepared for that. You need to understand that they coming to you to help fund that hotel. They already use your tax dollars, whether it be by bond or whatever. You got to pay the bill. That 22 point whatever million, you're going to have to pay the bill. You're going to have to keep the lights on. You're going to have to pay the employees. Once they get it running and the money comes in, hey, how do you do that? They take it from you. And then you sit there and they pass it. The city council passed the budget. Budget meaning your tax dollars. The leadership, the mayor says that this is what I need to run the city in this fiscal year, and they always come back. At the end of the year, there is a deficit. See, understand something. When a deficit is left by one administration, that deficit is still there if you do not address that deficit. So if you don't address it, there's a hole over here that never got filled, and it's run from one administration to the other. But what you truly need was a leader who could have stopped and said, we are not going to do anything until we fill this hole. The hole over at the Transit Authority. We need to know why this hole is here and who put it here. And then if we can find the money, we want our money. Because that is $77.7 million deficit that the whole, where did the money go? Show us the responsibility, show us the books as to why we have a deficit. But nobody seems to want to do that. They want to continue to play the game of politics. And if you talk about doing an audit, a real audit, from from previous administrations to this administration before it's over with, you will find that a whole lot of people, just like if they do that deficit as it relates to the school board and the mishandling of money, a whole lot of people across the board would be going to penitentiary because of misappropriation, fraud, stealing, because that's what politics has become, in my opinion, is a opportunity to rob Peter to pay the politician. That's what it's all about. But you got to change things. And I keep saying that nothing will change until you make that decision to do that. Now, I'm not putting everybody in a basket. I'm not saying that every individual is not trying to do his job. But if he or she is trying to do their job and they get caught up in the good old boy situation because they are too weak and they are not strong enough to stand up and represent you, I'd rather be right about what I'm saying than to be wrong in a crowd of people who are wrong. I would mean that I would rather stand alone knowing that what I'm saying and what I'm doing is the right thing to do as opposed to going along with the majority. And you just think about it. When you look at the Senate in Washington, you look at the Republicans who are in charge. Now, if any Republican, and I got some good Republican friends, and I know that, love them just like I love my Democratic friends. But if you sit here and you go along with something, you go along with it, but then when you get behind closed doors, you say, well, you know, it's wrong that the president has stopped the people from getting their benefits. You know it's wrong, but you're too weak to say it's wrong. You're too weak to stand up. You're too weak to be that only one that goes against the grain, because if they do, they're coming at you. Understand what you're doing. You're serving just for a small portion of time. If they don't want you there, so be it. Then let somebody else continue to do what they do, and we end up being in this problem where we have in the city of Memphis. One hand is passing it on to another hand, and we still both, as they say, the blind leaving the blind, and we both fall in a ditch. You would know that we are in a ditch in the city of Memphis. There's no way, under the leadership that we have had, past and present, that we should have been in this situation. When we lost control of our city to the criminal element in our city, then we lost pretty much everything. We are on our way, and one of my listeners said, when in a comment that I made, she said, we are not on our way to Solomon and Gomorrah. She said, we are already there. And I had to come back and say amen to her, because what we've seen that's going on in our city is just like Sodom and Gomorrah. Raping, robbing, killing in Gomorrah. But yet in Memphis, Tennessee, we just a small version of Sodom and Gomorrah. But what are we going to do about it? What do we have to do? I just saw Ed Stevens, Bishop Stevens, on Channel 3 at 3 with Coleman, and he was talking about how we need to change and turn the city around, and preachers need to be preachers. Preachers need to come together, and I've been saying that for so long. I've been saying that for a long time. Good evening, George Lawrence. Give me a call, 901-288-5300. 877-79. Love to hear from you. Want to know what your opinion is on the subject, this open conversation that we are talking about. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of looking and seeing what's happening every day. Sick and tired of the family members who have lost loved ones and saying it's been 3 months, 4 months, and we haven't heard anything that's going on in the city of Memphis. I'm sick and tired of seeing law enforcement officers who's supposed to be over Crime Stoppers, but now they are taking money. If you get to the point you can't trust the law enforcement community, then who can you trust? We have it down in Mississippi, the misappropriation of the 528 cash. We have that problem down there. May not be 528 cash, but it's the same thing. Why? I don't understand it. Somehow somebody got to enlighten me as to why that we are in such a God forbid situation of a Sodom and Gomorrah, and we have gotten to the point that we accept it. Why do you accept it? Never tell me that killing and drive-by shooting is something that you have came to accept is the norm, and that shouldn't be. I relate back to my law enforcement experience, and then when I look at it, I think it did happen on the value of what's happening now. We didn't have that high volume. It was there, but it wasn't what I see today. People are afraid to go to the store. But because the National Guard and others are here, they tend not to be afraid as much as they used to be. But then we got people saying they shouldn't be here. If you say that, then you're thinking you're outside of your mind. Because every day that they are here, they're providing the security, but yet things will happen because they cannot control or cover the whole city at any given time. Things will happen, but they're there to try to find out and catch who did this, that, or the other. They're there, and we need to be grateful for them being here. Be grateful that they're standing up to the plate. But we still got to fix our local government. We got to fix it. Because if we don't, your children, and my grandchildren will deal with this problem that we've been dealing with for over 50-some years. Why in the world will we not have the federal employees working? What is that whole thing about? What is that to prove? All right, if you can, George Lawrence telling me, ladies and gentlemen, he can't hear me. He probably got his computer muted. If you're looking to unmute your computer, because I got an okay in here that I can be heard. So you probably got your computer, Brother George, muted, unmuted, and then you can give me a call. We got about maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes left on the program, but feel free if you want to come in, feel free to do that. But I want you to subscribe to this Facebook page, and I want you to go to MemphisRealTalk.com and look at what we got going on over there and make a donation. It's not too small or too large. Whatever you see fit that you would like to donate, feel free to do that. Because we're building around this studio, and eventually want to take it from here to somewhere else where we can have really everything we need for you, all in one place. That's my goal. That's my journey to do that. We are making good progress, but we want you to be a part of this as well. We want to make this a part of this so you can make a difference as well. Some of you already have seen where I posted. That's tomorrow's show, dealing with Carsons, uh, the mother and the father, Brian Carson and his mother. We're going to take you down a trail of understanding, as I call, to find out Gail Joan Carson, the mother of Brian Carson, and how much of a role she played and how politically she is. We're going to walk you down that whole road and let you understand how Brian Carson can commit a crime, not be prosecuted, because the deal was made, and from my sources, with the Democratic Party, not to prosecute her son, which stole 26, as the record said, $26,000. Wasn't arrested. Some of them wanted to arrest him. But the deal was made that if he would pay the restitution back, then he would not have a criminal record. Well, the news got out. And he worked at one of the local hospitals. And when that got out, he was no longer an employee because it would have been a stain on the hospital that he worked at. We got all that. We're going to talk about all that tomorrow. And I want you to follow this trail of the influence that his mother has over him, how she can stop him from being prosecuted for stealing money. And not only that, how the judge Renfro, who I know, who came to one of my campaign kickoffs, who I allowed to speak on the platform when she was running for judge. And all of a sudden, how can she be a part of Brian Carson, knowing or not knowing, and didn't do the research as a judge, and you standing proudly behind someone that should be a criminal, but actually stole money. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Stay tuned. And we're going to lay out the journey and why he managed to go from being a chairman. At that time, I ran against Brian Carson, along with James Spicer. We was the three that ran, but he ended up winning through the influence of his mother. Then he became that chairman and then abused the money of the Democratic Party, but was not arrested. And then ended up getting a job as the executive coordinator. I just want y'all to follow the influence. Anybody else would have been worthy to have that job. But see, what we are good at doing in Memphis, we allow our politicians, we allow the power to be, the influencers, we allow them to do bad and be rewarded for bad behavior. And to me, ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't make any sense at all. You are not rewarded for bad behavior, but only in Memphis, Tennessee, can you be rewarded for bad behavior. We go back to the guy that was rewarded, given as director over the reentry program, and he did the same thing that Governor Lee pardoned him on for stealing, and turned around and stole again. Who put this fool, in the words of Judge Lee Crawford? Who put this individual? With this background, why would you put him over a situation like that? And it goes back to Brian Carson. If you stole $26,000 or 25 that they reported, whatever the figure is, why would you put him as coordinator? It's all about politics, and I'm going to show you how it works on tomorrow. I'm Jennings Bernard. I really do appreciate you being a part of this program. Remember to go subscribe to Facebook on this page here. I appreciate you. And also go to MemphisRealTalk.com and go to the donation page and make a donation, no matter how small or how large. You feel free to do that. Because all of the shows that will be on MemphisRealTalk.com that you missed, you can go to other. You can go to YouTube, Memphis Real Talk YouTube program. This one here will be posted. You can go to X, and this will be posted. You also can go to Spotify, and you can go to MemphisRealTalk.com past podcasts. Right now, you got some that are on there you can listen to at your leisure. Again, thank God for you, and to all of the veterans. I know some of you was out getting those free meals today. I hope you enjoyed your meal. You were worthy of what you received. But there's a lot more that you could and should receive for your service in the protection of this country. I'm Jennings Bernard. In the words of my grandmother, she always said, if it's the Lord's will and the creek don't rise, we'll see you on tomorrow. And in my words, I always say, trust everybody, but do not trust the devil inside of them. You've been listening to Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. God bless.